Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom, inspired by Ladies Who List Atlanta. So in this series, we do not necessarily have to watch Ladies Who List, but we only use things that happen in the show as discussion points to talk together in this series. And so from this episode number 2 of Ladies Who List, we came out with 3 questions. The first question is going to be, should you buy property with just a boyfriend? Should you buy property with a man that you're just dating but you're not married to? The second point we're going to discuss is the friend discount. If you're a professional, whether you do hair or you're a lawyer or you sell real estate, and your friend comes to you and wants to use your services, should that friend get a discount? And if they do get a discount, how much of a discount should they get? And the third thing we're going to talk about is, ladies, if you are the breadwinners in your families, does that mean that the husbands have to pick up a lot, 50% of the work at home or more? So let's talk about it. The first one is, should you buy a house with a boyfriend? So in the episode, we had 2 women who talked about buying a house with a boyfriend, or they were thinking about buying a house with a boyfriend. First was B. Simone. She came on, she started looking at a condo. She told the story that the reason now she can only look at a condo, which was about $550,000, and it was a small condo, it must be in the city of Atlanta, in the city. So this is all she can afford now. But she was saying less than a month ago, she was looking for a bigger house, a 5,000 square foot house or something. With a boyfriend, they were going to go in half or whatever the case may be, and she was going to be able to have a big house with a big closet, everything she wanted. But since they broke up, now she can only afford by herself a small condo in the city, and she don't like what her money is buying her. Then another one of the girls on the show, her name was Kira, she did buy a big house with her boyfriend, and she had like a 5,000 square foot house. She said she had 2 kitchens in it and everything. And she was saying that after they had a big fire at the house, she wasn't home, her boyfriend wasn't home, but they had a big fire at the house and basically destroyed the whole home. And then shortly after, she and her boyfriend broke up. So my question is, should you be buying houses with people you're not married to? And I say, absolutely not. When you buy a house with someone you're not married to, let me tell you, you don't have a lot of protections when that relationship goes bad and you got to figure out who's going to pay that mortgage. But when you are married and if you happen to divorce and you own a home, the courts will step in for you and they will divide that property up and they will order that other spouse, whether that be that husband or that wife or whatever, to contribute to that bill until you guys can get that house sold. But if he or she's just your boyfriend or girlfriend, at any moment they can be like, to hell with you, and they can walk away. Now, yeah, can you go to court and try and force him? Yeah, but that's going to be all on you to track him down. He could ruin your whole credit over that. So I don't ever suggest you buy a house with someone you're not married to. Marriage provides protections, and I wouldn't get into no big, deep investment like a home purchase. I know a lot of ladies are trying to rush things and get the house, but they need to take things in order, and that order means you need to get married first. You need to get married first or just buy the house yourself. Don't use anyone else's income, credit, or anything to qualify. If you can afford it on your own, buy it on your own, even if it means that it's a smaller home or not your dream home. Sometimes people's desires to get into this big house makes them do foolish decisions. So anyway, that's the first thing I'm going to talk about. The second one I'm going to talk about is the friend discount. So one of the girls on the show, she's a real estate broker. Her name is Kiana, and she was telling the story that, after she was about to open up her own brokerage company, and I guess in between transitioning from the old to the new, it's a law that says all of her agents have to hold all the properties that they were listing under an actual licensed broker. So during that transition period of 30 days, Kiana said, I'm going to ask my other friend who is a broker, hey, could you hold all our properties we got in our portfolio for less than 30 days? And then after I open up my brokerage company, we'll switch it back over. So it definitely was just a paper thing. So her friend Robin, who said, yeah, I'll hold it for you, but it's going to be $500 a house I'm gonna hold. And so Kiana was like, I got 26 homes I need you to hold on paper. 20, that's like $13,000 or $16,000, whatever to add up to it. And Kiana was hot. So my question is, should Robin have done it for free? I don't know, because here's the things. And also, Robin wasn't necessarily Kiana's friend. As we find out, Robin was dated a guy that was friends with Kiana's husband. So they were actually friends through Kiana's husband. So my question is, did Robin charge Kiana full price? Was that wrong? Should she have given Kiana a discount? Or was Kiana, being a little bit presumptive and thinking that, hey, this is this girl's business. Why should she hold something for free? I don't know. Do you give the friends discount? How much of a discount do you give? And if you do give it, how good of a friend does she need to be? I don't know what the range is, but I think there's somewhere in the middle. I'm landing in the middle on this. I don't think that Robin has to do it for free, because you know what? She is carrying some risk on her books. And so I'm not for sure what the going rate should be. But at first I was thinking, dang, Kiana, you don't think you should pay anything? So that's another thing I was thinking. The next question that comes up on the show is breadwinners. So one of the ladies on the show, Tiffany, she's actually an attorney. She's actually the closing attorney. And it comes to find out she obviously is the breadwinner in her family. So she was talking about how stressed she was. And we know how that is, lady. You the breadwinner. You might be working a job. You got kids. You got a business you're running and all of this. So she basically said she darn near had a mental breakdown. In fact, I think she kind of did say she had a mental breakdown. And then what she needed to do was she needed to ask for help from her husband. So her husband ended up quitting his job to take care of her, because I guess she was really just down and out. So my question is it reasonable that if you are a working woman with your own business and you are the breadwinner, do you think that should relieve you of duties at home with your husband? So if you're the breadwinner and you're working, do you think the husband should pick up 50% of the work at home, whether it be whatever that is? And I think a lot of women do believe that. I think women believe, hey, if I'm out working and I'm doing 50% of this and bringing in 50% of the income, or in her place, she's bringing in more than 50% of the income. She's thinking, okay, my husband's going to pick up 50% of the income. And I'll tell you this, as my experience being a married woman and around other married women, it doesn't happen. It's not a translation. Some women women can be the breadwinners and making all the money, and it doesn't end up that all of that weight at home, the husband is willing to pick up the weight of the work just because she makes more than him. That is one of the biggest issues in married couples, because that is how women think, that it should be a partnership and we should share. And so if I'm bringing in 50% of the income, you should be doing 50% of the work at home. But it may be in our heads, but let me tell you, most households, it doesn't translate. That's why I always tell women, you got to be really careful what you put on your plate, because when you put a lot of stuff on your plate from other things, somehow it doesn't translate to the house. You don't get relieved at home. And it's not just your husband. This is a thing with men, period. Men do not let women off the hook for stuff at home, whether it be kids, housework, whatever your duties are at home that you think should be your duties at home, that you contribute to as a wife. There is no reprieve based on how much money you make. Most of those women have had to learn that if you want reprieve in a household, typically you know what those women have to do that make all that money? They got to go hire a housekeeper. They got to go hire a nanny. Because waiting on the man to do it, it just doesn't happen. I know it seems unfair, and we all sit around talking about that's unfair, that's unfair, that's unfair. But nature is a strong force. And I don't know what to tell you. Some men like to do that type of work and some don't. But if you're looking for in general, a lot of men don't. That's why if you ever listen to Michelle Obama says, sure, women can do everything, but we can't do it all at once. It's really hard to have all your seasons as a woman at one time. It's hard to be on the top of your game in your career, top of your game building a business, growing a business, taking care of business, top of your game raising kids, top of your game, contributing and investing in your relationship, all in the same years. It's damn near impossible. Sometimes you got to pick seasons of life. Like this season, these 10 years, I'm gonna concentrate on this. The next 10 years of my seasons of life, I'm gonna concentrate on this. When I see women that have tried to do all these seasons of life and combine them into one period, it is a complete disaster. And the other thing that, I want to talk about when people start making a lot of money is I think sometimes they all start increasing their lifestyle to the level of money that they're making, when sometimes we probably need to maybe only live off 50% of our income instead of living off 80-90% of our income. Because that gives you the flexibility that at any moment when you do feel stressed or you have too much on your plate, you can pull back, and you can pull back without having the economic part. Sometimes people just buy too much house, they get too many material things, and then it locks you into that grind and that rat race. And I just think that's a disaster, especially for women, because women, we have a harder time saying no to people than men do. And so sometimes we carry the stress and the weight a lot longer than men do. Men know how to say no to people a lot more than women do. So when our plates are overloaded, sometimes we pay the biggest price. Anyway, what do you guys think about the 3 areas? Should we buy a house with a boyfriend? Should friends get a discount? And should the balance between work and house be divided in your home based on how much money you make?